grazing animals and predators, forests, until it once again disappeared.
Không đậm nam.
Based on a few fossils, escaped random power. World sea turtles drive the wild person join the landscapes. Birds of grazing animals and their predators, forests, until it once again disappeared.
This sign is an example of one logging company or forest company's approach towards the PR problem of logging. And this sign has been placed by Western Forest Products, who presumably owns this land, and it's very identifiable. It says, "Welcome. Inactive forest area. Road open to the public at all times. Please drive carefully." Now in British Columbia, they use monster trucks to haul logs up these roads. You can hear one coming, and I've stopped so we can get a shot of it as it goes by. And these are monster trucks, carrying probably twice the load that anything else carries. Look at the size of that. Probably half again as large as the average semi. The logging companies apparently own these roads, literally, not just figuratively. They built them, they own the land they're on, they maintain them, and the rules are, when they're coming, get off to the side, stay to the right, keep your lights on, and they have absolute, just about absolute, right to these roads. So you are the one that pulls over to the side, and there are many, many turnoffs like the one I'm in here, just to give you that opportunity. This is a beautiful mountain stream. And the water's so clear in these pools below me that their depth is deceiving. They're probably somewhere between 4 and 8 feet deep. But for example, when you look over here, it looks just like it might be a matter of a few inches. Notice the small pots or holes that have been worn in the stone over what must be centuries, if not thousands of years. This gives you some idea of the size of the loads these trucks carry, particularly this one right here on the end. Look at the size of that. Look at the size of those logs. And look how much higher than the horizontal supports are the logs. No surprise that I saw one big one lying off to the side. And thank God there wasn't anybody near it when it came off. It's really a game of Russian roulette driving down these highways, because there are some places where it's so narrow there is no place for you to turn off. And the legitimate question is, how much time and distance do these trucks need to stop with this tremendous weight?
Crush it.
Literally crush it, eh?
Literally crush it. It's all hydraulics, and it's amazing what they can do.
Well, I imagine they have to overbuild these things, don't they, for this kind of...
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
These will pick up probably about 6 to 10 logs at a time,
Gee.
which would run in the neighborhood of about 50 to 80,000 pounds, somewhere in that.
So they're like 2 scoops and they've loaded one of those big trucks.
It articulates in the center. It gives you a very strange feeling when you drive one of them.
And what are these things called?
This is called a stacker.
Okay.
So don't get my ambulance here. Isn't that an odd feeling when they turn like that?
Yeah.
Pictures for you, but to give you an idea of what they're like.
Well, this is great.
Should get you out one of the logging trucks.
Guess what come as no surprise, the guys that drive these every day get a sense of power.
Oh, they certainly do. Yeah, they certainly do. Your vision's sure restricted, isn't it?
Well, a little bit, yeah, but...
You got a picture with a bunch of logs on the front. It really restricts your vision.
Well, that's true. There you are, yeah, yeah. And then out here's where they grade all of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it dumps into the, they just, when they got...
Down the slideways, you can see there's a couple loads on the slides there now.
Oh, I see, okay.
and they just give it a little push and it slides down these big steel tracks down into the water, and then the boom boats push it out into the retaining booms from there.
And then the tug comes along and tows it down to the mill.
Tug comes in usually 3 or 4 times a week.
This whole pad that we're riding on is all out of cement in order to there's less damage on these things because they're working on a good surface.
Yeah.
Plus, I guess it keeps that wood cleaner, doesn't it?
It does, and when they're carrying 50,000-60,000 pounds worth of wood, bumping along just tears the machines apart.
Yeah. Forest also to load, or is there some other system?
It's a whole different system in the woods. It's a machine on tracks, actually, as opposed to rubber tire.
Oh, I see.
They're not that highly paid, some of these fellas. Well, $18 an hour, somewhere in that range.
Well, it sounds like $2 or $3 an hour difference to take the max risk.
Yeah, it's quite true. Yeah. We have another version of this one that's it's a radio controlled.
This is Lake Muchalat, which is on the dirt road between Gold River and Woss, which is on the east coast of Vancouver Island. The campsites along the lake were filled, but I found this neat road and this nice turnoff. Gives me a spectacular view. Plus, in the center of your picture, if you can possibly see it, way down there, probably can't see it, there's one white spot right along the shore. That's a bald eagle, and there are probably about 12 or 15 bald eagles there. About 5 or 6 of them are young, and what's happening is that they're getting a continuing lesson in, first of all, the pecking order, number 2, how to scavenge for food from those who know how to get it, like the adults, like between the environmentalist or those who simply love the beauty of the outdoors. That was a loon you just heard, common loon. And the demand that society places on or for timber in the form of building material is evidenced here, of course, with this beautiful serene lake nestled amidst these mountains all the way around, and yet in the view that you see right now, of course, major clear cutting. It looks like there's been some concerted and planned replanting, at least the portion we just looked at, and perhaps the portion up above, but doesn't look like it. And further on, of course, like someone who was scalped by a bad barber, we can see, I'll focus in a little more closely, we can see the exact tree line that was chopped out when that lower section was taken. One wonders, first of all, why there isn't some policy to protect the beauty around a singularly important resource such as this lake. And then number two, even if they are going to cut, and that there may be some justification for that, why is there not some method by which they can at least attempt to disguise the wholesale clear cutting of the land? In other words, to break up that perimeter with a thinning out boundary perhaps. Okay, when you talk about topography maps or elevations, here's a good example of what an elevation is. This road that of course has been redone was the original route. You can see it going along to the right here of the main freeway. It was used by the Oregon Trail immigrants to drop off this very, very high plateau down into the basin, and that's Pendleton, Oregon. Down there.